Now is the time.
Forever? Tangent. Old.
Halt.
Hashtag always MGM.
You are approaching the unloading area.
Calm down. AK haters.
But what if it could? Behold, the majesty of the Sistine Ceiling.
For the kids.
A salute to all theme parks, but mostly Walt Disney World.
Ha! What a cute ending.
Aloha and
Don't Dillo it.
This is Theme Park Thursday with Dillo's Diz. She is Jen.
Hello.
And I am Frank. And we are here with another episode of Theme Park Thursday and another guest on this week. And we're recording so far in advance again.
This is what we do now. We are professional podcasters. People have to get used to that. You know, I mean, we've
the
come
only
a long
professional
way.
podcast that makes it sound like you're listening to a landline telephone conversation.
Sometimes I listen back, just a little side tangent until we officially introduce our guests, that I sometimes listen back on like really old episodes and even ones where I know like our mics were being used. Why does it sound like this? Like it still doesn't sound great, but it's fine. We are professionals now, so.
That's right. Jen, I'm going to let you introduce our guest this week.
This is what you do. You know, you drop these on me every once in a while, like right before.
And of course, I'm saying that for the audio. I'm stalling now because you're annoyed. But I'm saying this for the audio. But if you're watching the video, because Jen decided to put the video up as well, the guest is right down there.
Right. Oh, she's right there. We didn't drop her out and bring her back in like we normally do. This guest is here today to talk about her recent trip to Disneyland because everyone is going to Disneyland except me. And we love her. We have 5 names for her, and we'll see which one I introduce her as. But here with us today is the one, the only PixieDustPhD herself, Dr. Jacqueline.
Oh,
yay. Hi. So excited. I literally added Jen. I was like, when can I come? Yap. She was like, 2 days from now. I was like, let's do it.
I go, what are you doing this week? Yeah.
Dr. J knows that we're not planning. So if she just says that, it could be an hour. It could be a couple of days. It could be
well,
weeks.
and what's funny is before her trip, I think we had probably been like, oh, well, we got to try to get her when she comes back. But we don't want to bother you before you leave. We're not going to bother you. But you texted and we're like, hey, when I get back, like, should we hang out? Should we talk about this trip? You're like, yes, please let me know when you're back. So it's good. It's good. This is what people have to do.
And time has gone so fast. I couldn't believe you were back already. I was like, oh, wait. I was like still confused, even though you text me and you tell me your dates and everything like that. And I was still like, wait, is it that time already? What?
I know. Well, you got back and then I had a hectic, I think many of us had a hectic few weeks, and then I left and now we're back. And I don't know. So does that mean Jen's going to Disneyland in like 3 or 4 weeks? I feel like that's probably got to be part of the plan.
You never know. You know, maybe if there was, I don't
check
know.
The flights.
Check the flights. That's what you have to do. You have to check the flights and go from there.
It is. Jen's gonna have a T-shirt soon that says "Check the flights."
Check the flights.
Oh, just expand your pretend trip planning to the other Disney park.
I do that. I absolutely do that for sure. And I get it to a pretty good price. I'm like, this is excellent. And then I check the flights and I go, well, that's out. I'm not doing that.
You got to start with flights. That's always the starter.
That would be the smarter move to do.
All right. Well, I think before we fully jump in, I want you to talk to me a little bit about the Sacramento A's.
Oh, you can't. Do you want this to be able to be posted? I can't say. I don't have appropriate words.
Well,
also officially, they're just the Athletics. They do not take the Sacramento moniker. So I was gonna say words I can't say. That's where we're at. I feel really weird, honestly, is because like I grew up an A's fan. I've never had another team. I mean, I've rooted for the Diamondbacks. Like as an AL fan, I feel like it's fine to like have a secondary NL team. So I've like rooted for the Diamondbacks as like a small market little brother team. I live in the DC area now, so I'll root for the Nationals, but they're not my team. Like if they do bad, I don't care. If they do great, I don't really care. Honestly, when the Nationals do well, I get a little annoyed because then ticket prices go up a ton. So it's harder for me to just like go to a ball game. But so yeah, I feel like I don't want to abandon my team. And like obviously it's still the same players from the past, couple years. And we're finally spending money to retain players on long-term deals as if they couldn't have been doing that for the past 20 years. So it's the same guys and it's the same like brand, heart, like hustle, all that stuff. But obviously just like fully abandoning the city, the owner acting in the way that they've decided. I'm not convinced Vegas is ever going to happen. They're acting like Sacramento basically doesn't exist, which I think is also rude to Sacramento. I hate that we're playing in a AAA ballpark. I don't understand how the MLBPA approved that. Moving on.
I knew we let it go for a little while.
The anger is taking over.
I ripped the Expos. I'm so sorry, friend. Selfishly, I like having a team in my city, but I mean, the Expos were cool.
Look what you did. Why are you getting her riled up? Why not save that for the end? You make her all angry before we talk about her trip.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't planning to ask that question, and then that's the question that came out. If I'm being completely honest, I was going to say,
how you guys feel about the Isles being the team that let Ovi's goal in, huh?
I mean, it's not like surprising.
Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't even know they were playing the Islanders. That's I'm just like, I'm done with this.
Yeah,
it's not the same. Hockey's just not the same to me. I don't want to get into it. What I was going to ask Dr. J was just maybe before we get started, give me a brief synopsis of the amount of time where you were staying and how many park days you had.
Okay. Saying this out loud makes it sound so much more ridiculous. We did 6 nights in the Disneyland area. We did our first, our arrival night at an offsite in a Hilton, across the street. And then we did 2 nights at the Grand Californian and 3 nights at the Disneyland Hotel. My partner and I had 4-day park tickets. And we went down a little early, which is why it was 6 nights. And then my older brother, his wife, and their 3 kids came down a couple days later. They had 3-day park tickets.
And I feel like you have had this trip planned for a while.
For a long time.
I know you always plan better than Frank and I, but I feel like this one in particular, I feel like I remember you talking about it for over a year. Am I?
Yeah, I think I probably started bothering my brother 15 months or something before the trip, because the whole point is my partner and I have ownership at the Villas at Disneyland Hotel, so the DVC property at Disneyland. And so that follows normal DVC rules where your homeowner priority means you can book 11 months in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And because there would be 7 of us total between my partner, myself, my sibling, their wife, and the 3 kids, I knew we would need a 2-bedroom. There's not that many 2-bedrooms. I knew it'd be super competitive. And so I wanted to book 11 months out no matter what. And I am, you guys know, I'm super type A, very planned in advance, super organized. My brother is not not interested, not a great communicator. Not that he's bad, mean, or what, on purpose. It's just he's much more go with the flow or whatever. So I knew I would need to nail him down. And one of the possibilities in my head was they might want to go over Christmas. And so probably not Christmas Day because there's little kids, but the time right before or after Christmas while the kids are out of school. So it's if they want to go over Christmas, then I need to know 11 months before then.
Right.
And so he ended up saying spring break. So it was we had a few more months padding, but I was it's either Christmas, spring break, or summer. I have no idea what they would prefer. So yeah, I started bothering them that 12, 11 months before Christmas time.
Right. Because I know you probably had Excel spreadsheets going. What was, and I say that with respect, of course. What was did you have an overall plan? Here's what takes priority, or were you just kind of doing it by day or by park? How do you go about planning?
Once we had dates nailed down and stuff? Okay, well, so for the days when the kids were there, I was there's no plan. I don't think we can try to control any of that. I asked my brother, what time do they nap? What time do they normally eat? What time do they normally go to bed? And are you interested in nighttime stuff, knowing that it's definitely past their bedtime? And he was whatever happens. Okay, but like they're gonna need a nap and like I don't know what. So whatever.
It's like dealing with us, Dr. J. When you
know,
come with
yeah.
us and then you're in Epcot with us at Food and
Yeah.
Wine, we're like, whatever happens, happens.
Even when the kids aren't with
Lesson-
us, I'm like, I'm gonna need a nap, and so
Yeah, no, me too. Lesson learned on my end. I need to just plan with his wife. I think she's
Yeah.
not as intense as I am, but she's a lot better about these things than he
Right.
is. Okay, so yeah, so while the kids were there, I asked these like preliminary questions. I got nothing back, and but I was like, well, we're gonna need to eat. So I went through menus and I picked out like a handful of places. And I was like, do you want to go anywhere with the kids? Like, I don't know. The youngest is 2, almost 3. So I was like, everywhere has stuff for kids. Like, I don't know if you want to deal with sit down restaurants or whatever. And he said, yeah, maybe a couple. So then me and my partner kind of just decided, we booked stuff and we sent it to him. He said, looks good. So that was that. And then the days when it was just me and my partner, though, were like a lot more planned of like, the parks we're going to, like the rope drop strategy, the key rides we want to hit, the key snacks we want to eat, the drinks I want to get. For the most part, it wasn't maybe quite that. I don't think I said like the drinks I want to get, but it was like the places I want to get drinks at. Like I had my top tier things that we wanted to accomplish, especially knowing that the next few days with the kids would be like probably not going to get to do much of anything. So.
Yeah. And before I get to what those snacks were, have you heard about Frank not having the corn dog?
I mean, I heard that he didn't have the corn dog, but like I don't eat hot dogs, so I hear that this is some atrocity, but I'm with Frank. I'm like, I didn't have a corn dog. My partner didn't have a corn dog. Sorry.
Did you see how he said, I don't know how I feel about corn dogs, but I like Twinkies?
I did. That was confusing.
What?
I also don't like Twinkies. I remember as a kid, like I am considerably less of a picky eater now. I think I'm still a little bit of a picky eater, but I'm a lot better. I've worked really hard to expand my palate, but as a kid, I was a really picky eater.
Mhm.
And my brother wasn't. My parents would try to get us to eat the same things for ease, and he loved the mini corn dogs, and I would just like tear the cornbread part off and eat it. So I like the batter, but I don't think Twinkie batter is the same.
It's not. It's not.
All right. We can't keep this up forever with.
Yes, we can.
I figured out that sponge cake and cornbread are different things. That's fine.
All right.
Jeffers is mentioning that the Islanders are down 5-0 to the Rangers as we're recording this.
Rip.
This is why I don't watch hockey anymore.
If you
I
know
would be
Fair
so
weather.
angry.
Yeah.
So angry about it. Tell me, I would assume the 2 and 3-year-old was there for the first time, or had they been?
Yeah. There's a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old. 2 and 4 are like pretty close to 3 and 5, which I think helps. So 7 and 4 had been once for one day, so Disneyland Park only. No one had. My brother had been to DCA, like him and I went as kids. I guess we were like teens probably.
Mhm.
I don't think his wife had been to DCA ever, and then the kids definitely hadn't. But 7 and 4 had been, I think, in late summer of 2023. So it'd been like a year and a half. The 7-year-old remembered like a little, like some things, and then I think the 4-year-old remembered like vibes, but like couldn't express anything. And then the 2-year-old was like not around, or like a baby. I'm not sure.
So did you then plan like, I assume I'm gonna hit these rides so I'm not gonna worry about it when I'm with my partner. I'm
Kind
focus
of
on different rides instead.
We had some discussions about that in terms of, I think that was very much my partner's take of like, oh, well, we're gonna do Alice and Peter Pan and all these things with the kids. And I was like, okay, but if anything's like a must do for us, we need to do it on our days, because I don't think any of that's guaranteed with the kids.
Yeah.
So for example, we never got on Pinocchio. It just wasn't something the kids ended up doing, and we didn't prioritize it on our days, which is like, it's fine. Like I went on it. We had been to Disneyland as adults once before in 2022, I think. So it's like, I'm not heartbroken, but it's, I would have been heartbroken if we didn't get on Alice. And so we did do Alice by ourselves as adults, and we managed to squeak it in with the kids. But like, that was one where the parents were like, that's always like a 25-minute line. It can't be worth it. And I'm like, it is.
It is worth it.
And I like bullied them into it. But like, so anything that was like a must do for us, we went pretty hard, especially our first day in the parks. We really like went for it.
I think I have fedora ear footage of
Here we go.
both of the Alice in Wonderland attraction and Pinocchio, if you need it.
Nice.
Allegedly. We have not seen this footage
Didn't
yet.
it turn out poor? I heard that the fedora ear wasn't a
It's
great
going to be
success.
shared at some point. It's definitely going to be a
Right.
resort exclusive, so I could
Uh-huh.
be openly mocked for it. So that's something to look forward to, Dr. J.
I share bad shaky footage all the time, and I'm like, look, I'm not a professional.
I mean, Jen's been sharing old 1990 footage of attractions that, clearly.
Yeah, but that's
suck.
cool now because it's nostalgic. I'm like, at what point does it turn? Because I have some footage from, I don't know, like 2017, like before I started being online like this. I'm like, is that cool now, or do I got to wait another 10 years?
Yeah, you got a 10-year anniversary maybe for that one? I don't know.
Maybe,
Probably
yeah.
10 years to be successful and nostalgic.
Right.
All
But like
right.
11 and a half, but then da-da-da-da-da. Like,
Right.
So of the dark rides, right? So is Alice your top tier? Is that your top, or is Mr. Toad, or is
no, I think Alice is.
yeah.
Well, I love that it's like 2 levels. I love that you're inside and outside. I also just think the story of Alice fits really well into a classic dark ride. Mr. Toad's is weird. What a trip.
Mhm.
I love it so much. I was so happy on it. But Alice, the first time you ever rode Alice, whenever that may be, were you worried that they weren't going to have a mad tea party until the end? Like I was so angry because once we went into painting the roses red, I was like, are they not doing the mad tea party on this
because
ride?
it's out of order.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time I rode it, surely I was a child, so I don't think so.
Right.
And then
I
as
was
an
a little-
adult, I think I take a much more casual, like happy to be here vibe.
I was a little
Like they
worked
could
up.
change scenes, and I don't know that I would notice if someone didn't point it out to me.
I'm like
Sorry.
Frank
I
with
think I
angry
needed
eyes.
a snack at that point when I wrote it, but I was getting a little worked up about it. Did you park hop that the day that you were just with your partner, or just do the one park?
Yeah, so we bought 4-day park hoppers. My family, despite having a 3-day ticket, didn't buy park hoppers, which is, again, like my brother's not really a planner, not super communicative. Like I would not have let them do that if it were up to me. But yeah, so we park hop a lot our first 2 days together, and then our 2 days with the family. Like when they went to nap, we would park hop, or like at park close when they went to bed, we would park hop or something like that. But not nearly as much park hopping with the kids.
Being a little more experienced in the Disneyland park hopping, and I assume you are, what is your strategy for going back and forth? Times a day, certain attractions with wait. I mean, because it's right. The fact that you could just like cross the streets basically to get to the other park is a benefit. Is there something that determines when and timing and things like that?
I think it's not all that different from Disney World, other than it's a lot easier. So like the first proper rope drop, the first like 2 to 2.5 hours, you stay put. And I guess at Disneyland, you still aren't allowed to park hop until 11, 1, I forget.
I think it was 11. Yeah.
I think 11, because I remember feeling like you could reasonably get lunch in the other park, which was nice. So they don't let you park hop. But so you stay put while lines are low. And then in our case, for the 2 days where it was just me and my partner, we did buy Lightning Lane Multipass. And so we kind of let that like dictate park hopping, where if the park we were in, like the return times were getting pretty far out, we would check the other park. And if there was a good time, we would just go. The other thing is, and this might be like an unwelcome take, but I find personally, I enjoy the food at DCA more. So if it's kind of like meal, snack, hungry time, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah, and I think the couple of times I've talked about it on 2 other podcasts and on our own is
so fancy.
it's so fancy. I'm just making around.
Hopping around.
No,
all
you're
the
so popular.
podcasts. Mhm.
It's totally fine. And anyone else who wants to dial me up and with their rotary phone,
Dial me up. I can't.
So yeah, I don't think I said this. Well, like Blue Bayou was probably like my favorite like food experience, and I like Bengal barbecue too. Like, but everything at DCA was good. Like, I just thought it was a little bit better than Disneyland.
That's how I feel. I also think Disneyland has a little more focus on like sit downs, and DCA feels a little easier to just kind of like grab and go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was food and wine while we were there too, which I think you missed.
Yeah,
but so
I
we
missed
had, we had the food and wine booths too to choose from, which are only at DCA.
What were your must-have snacks going into it?
Okay. Yeah. So there was a burrata toast for food and wine, but it was at one of the like standard quick services in DCA. there were several birria items. There was a food and wine birria mac and cheese. There is a standard, just like quesabirria taco at DCA, somewhere in the San Francisco area. I forget who comes from where. And then there is I think this is seasonal, but right now, when I was there, there was they called it a birria toasted cheese. It's basically a birria, like grilled cheese melt at Jolly Holiday. So those were all very high. There is a pretzel cheesy garlic bread at a couple little carts in Disneyland that I really wanted, and it was phenomenal. And then definitely wanted the like tempura battered green beans from Trader Sam's / Tangaroa Terrace. So yeah, I think those were all like the big, we gotta find the stomach space for these, fam.
Was the pretzel cheesy garlic bread thing from across from the Matterhorn, or because I think I went there thinking that's what I was getting, but it wasn't that.
It's definitely at Maurice's Treats, which is backed by like Princess Land, and then I think it was at like one or two other carts, but I'm not too sure.
Because I feel like I heard about it, but I didn't think that's what I was getting when I had it. I was fine with it; it was good, but
was it a pretzel bread like?
It was like a pretzel. It looked like almost like the cheese was like almost like the hot dog instead of the.
Yeah. You didn't like it? I thought it was great.
I thought that I didn't like it. It wasn't what I was expecting.
Did you go to like Edelweiss Snacks?
Yes.
Yeah, it was probably there.
Yeah.
Did everything meet the expectations?
Food wise?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, my general takeaway for Disneyland food and drinks, and this is how I felt in our 2022 trip. I probably should have fact checked this. I think we went in January 2022. But so is that like everything feels 15 to 20% overpriced, even compared to Disney World. Like California tax and Disneyland tax is just a little higher, I think. So it's always like nothing feels worth it.
Yeah.
But then you just kind of give in and you're like, I'm on vacation, whatever. And the nice thing about Disneyland for me is a lot of the quick service places offer a DVC discount, which is not true in Disney World. So even though we were buying like quick serve food, not like Food and Wine Festival, but like quick service, I would get 10 or 15% off, which then you're paying a rate where I'm like, okay, like that makes sense. That's a price that makes sense to me.
It's all Disney math.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. It goes on the credit card. Deal with it later.
Yeah.
Is there, I mean, when there's no food and wine, do you feel like is the food and wine a bonus for you? But do you think you can still get by with getting your favorite snacks when a festival isn't there?
Yeah, I really do. I think quick service, especially in DCA, is like very good.
Yeah. It's just funny to me. I'm just not the snack person, right? Like it's just not what we did. I think we break it down to Dole Whip later though, but like a Mickey ice cream bar and popcorn on Main Street, that was like our thing, and that was that's what we constitute. So I felt like we never expanded our snack game as adults. So I'm always curious. I feel like Food and Wine offers that thing for you, and I see it that way. We're like, oh, I can grab something little here and there and everywhere, but then without that, I feel like my brain does not lock into let's grab a snack here, or what are they offering here? So I'm always curious, especially that's your mindset a lot, and you always have that plan. So
yeah. And I think like, especially this trip, my partner and I agreed in advance for like, let's split more things so we can eat more different things, right? So rather than treating things as a meal, we'd split stuff. So like, for example, we got like a kid's teriyaki and shared it. Obviously not filling for 2 adults, but that meant that, okay, then you can also get birria ramen and split it. Great. And so I don't know. I think it's also, I feel like I get less cranky if I'm like eating little bits throughout the day in a theme park day than like waiting for big meals, like just kind of keeping myself more nourished. Yeah. And a lot of the quick service stuff is like, small for Disney, but like normal portions, like quesabirria tacos, I think is 2 tacos. There's 2 of us. Great. We each get 1 taco. No complaints. But it's good enough to like experience the snack and be happy and like get some calories in you, feel satiated, but it's not so heavy that you're like, now I'm full and I don't want to eat anything else.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Since you 22 was the last time you went?
I think so.
Yeah. So you were to Walt Disney World a couple of times in between there. Attraction wise, what did you miss getting to do again and go, it's been a while since I did this, besides Alice. I like this. Are there other attractions that stand out to you the same way?
Storybook canals.
Yes.
I
Let's
love.
talk about it.
The rest of the episode all about the story.
So I think my brain is confused because they also have it in Paris, which I did sometime in this rough time frame. I don't know when. I would guess after Disneyland. I think probably I went to Disneyland, and then that fall I went to Paris, and then have been to Disney World and then back to Disneyland. But so Storybook Canals is so charming. We did it on our adults only days. We ended up doing it with the kids, which was fun. I can't remember. I was thinking, like, especially the second time through, I was like, did they change this since I was here last? Or am I just thinking about Paris? But yeah, they just have like these miniature, but like super intricate sets of a bunch of different of the fairy tales. And it's so gorgeous. And they have like a live cast member doing the narration. They will like change it up a little bit. They definitely have like a standard script, but depending on what's happening. And we were there during duckies season. So there were like little ducklings on the islands, and it was so cute.
Jen, you'll know when you finally go.
No,
The glory that is the Storybook Canals.
Believe it.
It feels
so
like
great.
old school Disneyland, even like when you see like Arendelle and things like that and Rapunzel, you're like, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's all still classic Disneyland stuff. I don't think my fedora ear footage is very good for that one.
Probably should have lowered it for that one.
Yeah. What else? I like their Jungle Cruise a lot. I don't think it's better, but it's just different enough to where
This
going
came
on.
up in our Dillo's Madness of the Jungle Cruises. I mean, I'm not a big Jungle Cruise guy in general, which surprises people because the skippers are humorous. But I felt like the Disneyland, because again, if you know the Imagineering story and you know like the building of it, I felt more it felt more historic to me going on it here than
There's also, and I didn't connect this in 2022, or if I did, I fully forgot. But theirs explains the like 2 shots of rum joke that they do at Trader Sam's,
Mhm.
and I finally was like, oh, I get it now. Thank you. So yeah, that one I like a lot.
Yeah,
I really like
really good.
their Big Thunder,
Mhm.
and their Space Mountain, and Radiator Springs Racers is obviously like Chef's Kiss. Like, definitely think about that ride quite a bit.
Radiator. So Jen's been giving me a hard time for not spending enough time in Cars Land. Do you wish to jump on that bandwagon and also give me a hard time that we?
No,
only
I mean,
briefly
I also
Cars
didn't
Land?
spend enough time in Cars Land. We were like, we kind of also just like walked through at night. We didn't really like spend time and appreciate it. It's hard because like the kids can't go on Radiator Springs Racers, which is the thing that you would spend the most time doing in Cars Land, probably. We were there during the day a lot. Like, they met Lightning McQueen. We went on the 2 kid rides, and we got lunch there one day, I think. And I guess we did go back on the Mater ride at night, but I really wanted to be there. In my head, I wanted to be there for like the sunset and then the like lights come on, but it wasn't enough of a priority where we like planned any of our days around it, so it just didn't happen.
2 things. So 1, you've been there before and have seen that before, and 2,
Yeah, that's true.
everything you stated sounds like 10 times more time in Radiator Springs.
Did you not do any of the rides, Frank?
No, we did the racers.
Okay.
I mean, but it was also like, first thing in the morning, we went in, we're like, let's make sure we get this done so we know we did it.
Did you stand
I think
in
we
the, like,
thought we would
100-minute
get back
wait?
there again, but we never really went back there again.
Oh, okay. I mean, I also had a 4-day ticket, so
I mean, I think in hindsight, I mean, this is the thing. We had the 3-day park hopper that first day. We just ended up spending the whole time at Disneyland because we were loving it so much. Again, it's like it's perfect a day we could have, like in any Disney park, I think. So I felt like that missed opportunity of hopping the first day maybe prevented us from, because then the second day it didn't feel as good as the first day. So we were like, all right, let's just hop back to Disneyland for a little bit. But by the third day, we're like, oh, now we feel like we probably should spend more time.
I think it's hard where it's like when I look at, if you go on the website and look at like the list of attractions, the list of things to do or whatever, I'm like, I feel like I did a vast majority of this.
Mhm.
But then there's always like, well, I didn't just like sit in Cars Land, or I didn't just like hang out in San Francisco Square and like look at all of the Easter eggs and read all of the signs or whatever. There's always those things where I'm like, I don't know, if I lived here, if I was a pass holder, whatever, maybe I would prioritize that more, and like my heart aches for it. But like in the moment, I'm like, oh, like Tower of Terrors, like whatever, Mission Breakout, Guardians of the Galaxy is like a low wait, let's run over there instead of just like sit here and like soak it in.
Yeah.
No, I didn't ask this question to others that I've talked to about my trip to Disneyland, but I will ask you, Dr. J, the change to Pixar Pier from Paradise Pier. Are you okay with that change? Or
Obviously, I'm okay with it. In general, I would say I'm fine with the theme parks changing. Like there are some things, like when they took Happily Ever After away for a bit, I was sad. Like obviously, I was definitely sad, and when it was like what I thought was my last time seeing it, I cried. Like that's, but I think like I'm an engineer at heart, so I tinker. I understand the desire to like change things, update things, like make them more relevant for the new generation. I don't know if it's factual, but I read a talking point that old Country Bear Jamboree was like the 27th ranked attraction, and after they revamped it, it was like 6 or 7.
Mm.
Oh wow.
So
It's really
I think
good.
I haven't seen it, but so that's what I mean when like there's usually data pointing to why they're trying a change, and you can't really test it until you make the change and like hope it is an actual improvement for the average guest. And I think I tend to think about the parks a lot more in like the average guest who comes once every 5 years, once every 10 years or whatever, doesn't hold these like very intense feelings for these places. Something like a third of the guests going to Walt Disney World haven't seen Pandora still. They haven't been in a long time. So
I mean, do we need to discuss that more? Then we know why.
I mean, this whole outlook though seems healthy. I don't know. Like the idea that change is okay and like, look, it's improving and keeping up with.
I mean, even if it's not improving, even if like for you, it's objectively worse. Like it changing doesn't change your past experience. Like you still live through that. You can still hold your fond memories. That's fine.
Healthy. That is a very healthy way of thinking, Dr. J, and this is why we have you here.
Yeah, totally.
What is your take on Mission Breakout versus Tower of Terror versus Cosmic Rewind? Let's put all three of those attractions together. Where do you sit?
I disagree with lumping Cosmic Rewind in. I disagree. Mission Breakout and Tower of Terror, like I probably as a kid, but not as an adult. I have no memory of Disneyland Tower of Terror. I assume that the ride system wasn't fully changed. So I assume you still kind of just do it and then did the up down. Like in Disney World, you get in the thing, it does that like long winding path through the Twilight Zone, and then you're
lock saying
in
that like it's
thing.
A negative. Is that a negative, Dr. J? I feel like you're being negative right now. But the long
maybe. Well, I'm just saying like, oh no. Okay, so what I'm saying is assuming that the Disneyland ride system didn't change when they did the makeover to Guardians, assuming that they didn't like take out a segment of the ride, which I think is almost surely true. Yeah. I could see how the retheme into something a little more upbeat, joyous, fun, like lighthearted in that system makes sense. I don't dislike it. Personally, I prefer Disney World. I think because of the buildup, it feels scarier. I think it is more thrilling, and I think Disneyland's is more fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I would rather be scared.
All right, you worked it through. I was getting worried that you're a little bit negative about the Tower of Terror for a second.
No, my point was that like if it was an exact clone of Disney World and Disneyland before, and they somehow like took out a middle segment to make it Guardians, I would be mad. Yeah. But I'm assuming that it was always kind of just that way where you got in the elevator and then you did the ride and there was no buildup. Of which case, like, yeah, sure, make it bouncy. What do I care?
No, and that's why when we were talking about it, I feel like you can't compare them anymore because of Mission Breakout versus Tower of Terror, because they do feel so different despite the fact they were original.
But they're both like drop rides. Like, Cosmic Rewind is fundamentally not a drop ride.
But it's Guardians IP versus Guardians IP is my point.
Yeah, but I mean that Cosmic Rewind was just supposed to be like Mission to the Center of the Earth or something, right? Or like into an explosion of a supernova or something. Like you can take the IP out and it's still not a drop ride.
I mean, I hear you. I'm just talking about the IP right now.
I mean, I also am like I don't like actively dislike Guardians. I also don't actively care. So to me, it's like a neutral palette.
You're clearly just still mad about Conga. It's really...
I do hate Conga. That's so true.
All right.
Mission Breakout has like different songs too, which I don't think I realized in 2022, but we figured that out this time around.
Well, let's go into your wheelhouse a little bit. Let's talk about some of your favorite drinks that you had on this trip.
Oh boy. Okay. Can we start with least good mentions?
Yeah.
So We had drinks at not the Carthay Circle restaurant, but they have a lounge that's called El Fresco Dining, which, by the way, I've now been twice, and it's been inside both times, despite being called El Fresco Dining, which is confusing. But it's their lounge. Okay, so Carthay Lounge, and then we also went to the Hearthstone Lounge, which is off the lobby of the Grand Cal. The drinks were good, except for they do not double strain, and so you get a drink up, and your first sip is full of ice chips. I'm paying like $20 a drink.
Yeah.
Drink ice chips. And it's honestly like infuriating to me and so frustrating. And like, what's wrong with you? Stop it.
Stop it.
So there's that.
Did you include that on your survey when you were done?
Yeah.
So they only give you like 48 hours to respond to the survey, and I was like still on vacation, so I did not respond. I don't really have time for that. Whatever. We tipped normal, but like when we went to Carthay, we ordered a round and like a salad. Salad came out first, then drinks came out. We both took a sip. We were like, so we're leaving, right? Like we were fully ready to buy like 2 or 3 rounds, and we were like, one and done, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so stop it. Like if you're shaking a drink, you double strain it. Period. Especially at those prices. If you're slinging drinks for $8, you can do whatever you want. But okay, we did brunch at Lamplight Lounge because we know what days of the week are. And I got a cinnamon toast cocktail, which is literally just like cinnamon toast crunch cocktail, like milky cinnamon goodness. That was so good. It was not complex, but it was delicious. And then the drink I had at Carthay, sans the ice chips, was good. I had a double pear martini, but like you just have to sit for 20 minutes and wait for the ice chips to melt. And then obviously it's like more diluted than it was supposed to be. Blah, blah, blah. Like it probably should have been better.
Just
but that's
double
fine.
strain.
It was just double strain it. This is what I'm saying. We went to, when we were waiting for our Disneyland hotel room to be ready, we went to the Palm Breeze pool bar there. And they have a basil grapefruit sour on the menu. It comes with mezcal, which is not my favorite. It's like one of the few things I'm like, please no. So I swapped it for tequila, but that was really good. And the bartender made it properly and like did a wet shake, then a dry shake. There was a really good head, no ice chips. Yeah, so that was awesome. And then I don't know how many drinks we had between like Trader Sam's proper and the Trader Sam's outdoor bar. It was probably like between the two of us, I would say like 8. I mean, we were there for a while in my defense.
You're at Trader Sam's. Come on.
Yeah. And it's like right there. It's like at your hotel. There's like a walk-up bar. It's hard to be like, well, no, you know, you're like, well, why not?
That is the, I mean, I have a lot of, I want to stay at the Disneyland Hotel 100%, but that walking around there and just knowing that it's right there is a big selling point.
It's amazing. Bartenders are so cool too. So yeah, I mean, they were all good. We had, while we were in the restaurant, we had, I think it was called a Sea Monster's Revenge. It was like a shared bowl drink that I don't think they have at Disney World, or I hadn't seen it on the menu before. Both my partner and I were like, what's that? That's new. Let's get that. That was super good. And then, you know, obviously we got some Mai Tais, we got some zombies, like everything's great.
Because we had dinner at Trader Sam's that first night, just you know, I liked Pixar Place, but I was really not bummed, but just the atmosphere. I was like, oh, I probably should have went with this. I knew the family experience. Yeah,
Pixar Place, and it was so cute. Like I don't know what the rooms were like, and the pool was closed. Was the pool closed when you were there?
No, the pool was open.
Okay.
We thought it was going to be closed, and we were surprised when we got there and it was open. They had told us it was going to be closed, so I think it was on the way to being closed.
Yeah,
but 100% loved Pixar Place, loved walking around, loved the room, loved our view. I have no complaints, but there was something a little historic again about you know that spoke to me.
Monorail pool is also like so
very cool.
Like
yeah,
I will say like, so I haven't stayed at Pixar Place or whatever it was before then, but like I really like the Disneyland Hotel. I think there's so much to like about it, but it is a bummer that you do not get a theme park entrance and the other 2 hotels do. And especially when like Disneyland Hotel is usually more expensive than Pixar Place, but you technically are not permitted to use their entrance. I guess it depends on like how strict they're being at any given time.
That is curious that they wouldn't just give you some kind of option there.
You're like right at downtown Disney, and you're at like the further gate. So most people coming from the parking lot go to the first one, and then there's a second one that's like a lot shorter lines because it's mostly only hotel guests. But I don't know. Yeah, having stayed at Grand Cal and Disneyland Hotel, I'm like, oh, there are like distinct advantages, disadvantages location wise here.
Yeah, and I mean, and I liked walking around Grand California just the same way I like walking around Wilderness Lodge, but it never has compelled me to go, I want to stay here. Or, I mean, Wilderness Lodge, I feel like it just never gets to that point that I actually book there and probably won't or ever will. But tell me a little bit about Grand California, just because I feel like you would give me an objective view of why I should or should not stay there.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the comparison to Wilderness Lodge is super fair. It's that same like feels. I mean, obviously it's themed to California, but it's got that trees, nature, like Pacific Northwest, if you ask me, vibes. The arts and craft style is super cute. The food and drink options at Grand Cal, I think, are very good. Mm-hmm. Although it's so hard to beat Trader Sam's if you're me. And probably if you're you. Yeah. The thing about like, so we started at Grand Cal and then moved to Disneyland Hotel, and not that Disneyland Hotel is far, but it is twice as far.
Right. Yeah.
As
I can
Grand
see that.
Cal.
Just start one. Yeah, that's fair.
It is like noticeable. And like, so Grand Cal, you have your own private security. It's just like much faster and easier than dealing with the downtown Disney security.
Yeah. Just to double back here, Troy is saying Walt never double strained.
I bet he did. His martinis? I bet he did. Why not add to the mythology? So true.
Theme Park Rob is saying that I have to be getting ready to book listening to you guys. Just to be clear, this is my second time this week talking about Disneyland. It's fine. I'm fine. I don't know what you guys.
They had a really good like kids ticket deal, but I think it's maybe expired now. But wait for the next one to come through, and it will.
Yeah. Well, and they have that like $100 per day deal going on or something. So
right.
Check the flights.
Summer in Southern California, I think, is just as hot, but considerably less humid than Florida. So
it's that heat where you're like, is this a sunburn? Why would I get sunburned? I wasn't that hot, but it was
always wear your sunscreen. Oh, the other thing, I guess, comparing the two, and this is a little bit not fair because Grand Cal was like under a refurb while we were there. But to me, and I could be wrong, but it felt like Grand Cal's pools was just kind of, they had like 3 pools kind of equal size, but not like a feature pool. Obviously, the pool at the Disneyland Hotel is like a showstopper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's hard. They both have their perks, but yeah, I feel like the next time I go, whenever that may be, took 50 years to get to the first time, that I feel like I will struggle more with, I want to stay where I stayed the first time, Pixar Plays, versus I want the instant nostalgia that I feel walking around the Disneyland.
Yeah. And did you walk around like all the buildings in Disneyland Hotel?
I mean, I say I felt like I did, but
okay. So the lobbies of each of the buildings have different little things, and like what the Frontier Land, whatever Frontier lobby has like a model of Big Thunder Mountain. It's so cool that like the little goat is on there and everything. Yeah, it's cool. I don't have nostalgia for any of this stuff, but like walking around, I'm like, this is cool. Like,
man. Don't tell the 9-year-old that there's a model of Big Thunder Mountain in one of the lobbies. She'll be so mad at me.
Okay, well, next time, right? Maybe you'll stay in that tower.
I mean, I probably have to recommend it now.
Yeah.
I think we probably only, now that you say that, is there a Fantasyland one? Maybe that's the only lobby I was really in.
The Fantasy Tower, I think, is the main one, is like the check-in desk.
I feel like there was a whole It's a Small World situation going on.
Yeah, that's with the shop. Mm-hmm,
yeah. Mm-hmm. That's why I was there.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't walk around it completely, Dr. J. Thanks. There's also a dragon underneath the castle in Paris. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know if I missed that, honestly. That was like top of my list.
Oh no.
I feel like we didn't get through all of your drinks.
There were probably others, but those were the highlights.
Okay, those were the highlights. I was gonna say like if there were like what stood out to you otherwise. So I just wanted to make sure we covered that.
I think anything at Trader Sam's is good. They're also really good at customizing stuff. So there was one that like came with honey syrup, and I just don't prefer honey. And I was like, is there any way you can make this with like orgeat or something? Like, yeah, sure. And it was great. So I don't know. I think definitely like, even if you can't get into Trader Sam's, the outdoor bar always has some really good bartender slinging, and it's definitely worth like stopping by.
I know you're not nostalgic, but is there one drink at Trader Sam's that's like a go-to? Like, I can't wait to go to Trader Sam's and have this drink.
No, my partner for sure will like Mai Tai.
Mhm.
I think we had probably 2, maybe 3 Mai Tais while we were there, but no, I don't. It's kind of like, what am I feeling in the moment? And also, some of it's like, I know my partner's gonna get a Mai Tai. I know my partner's gonna get a zombie. So like, I don't have to order those things. That frees me up.
True. All right. I'm gonna pick a little bit at this nostalgia thing.
Okay.
Let's go back to the attractions in Disneyland. Pirates. What about Pirates? Like, do you love it more than Disney World? Yeah.
It's longer than Disney World's. I don't know if that means I like it more. This is also one of those things I think I mentioned earlier. I'm like, you could probably swap out a scene, and I don't know that I would like notice. And that's how I feel when people are like, compare the 2 parks. I'm like, well, I didn't ride them like literally back to back. You know, it's been like months in between. So I'm like, I don't know. I like them both. They're fun. They're rides.
Yeah. And that's the question I asked Frank is like, oh, well, what do you think of Pirates during Dillo's Madness too? And you were saying how it's longer. I'm like, but does that mean it was better? Like, which one do you like better? Or
I feel like I liked the piggy animatronics in Disney World's better, so I will pick on the pigs alone.
there you go. All right. Love it.
All right. Is there something that you think is unique to you that is something like nobody else ever thinks of walking around Disney? It could be attractions, it can be a shop, it can be a view. Is there something that you feel like this is my thing here in Disneyland?
No, I'm pretty basic.
I'm just trying.
What are you fishing for?
I don't know. I just want to know if there's something that like makes you stop and go, okay, I'm here now.
Oh. It's funny that I think this is the first time I've ever gone to like a castle Disney park and not cried. Like every other time I've gone as an adult, there's something, it's like the welcome show or fireworks or something where I just like, I don't know. There's just like a like relief of, oh gosh, we're on vacation. We're really here. It's really magical. It's really happening. And that didn't happen this trip. And I was like, oh no, am I getting sour?
Interesting.
To that, we were talking a lot in the fall about nighttime spectaculars and particularly the fireworks and Epcot and things like that. What did you do nighttime spectacular wise on this trip, if you were able to, because of the timing with your family?
Yeah, so we did the World of Color dessert party. We booked it and we kept it.
How dare you?
I know, right?
And kept it.
Yep. And so we did our first park day. We did World of Color dessert party, and then we hopped and caught the second Fantasmic. Just like stand by, found a decent spot, and then our second night we did fireworks and then Fantasmic dining package for like a good spot. And World of Color. So it's World of Color 1. So I think there are a lot of Disneyland purists that are like, the original is so much better. I've never seen it. I don't know. But I really loved World of Color 1. I thought it was amazing. And we did manage to watch that a second time for us with the kids. And they were like not impressed. And I was like, okay. Me and the parents were like, are we allowed to talk spoilers? It's just Jen, right? There's a part where they're doing like a Mulan scene, and then they do the part where she like shoots the rocket at the mountain, and then there's an avalanche, and they do the avalanche like in water, and it's so cool. And then I'm not even a Star Wars person, but when the Star Wars segment starts, they like shoot 2 streams up super high, and like one's green and one's red. They're like the lightsabers. What are they called? And it's so cool. And there are just like certain segments in that. And I'm like, that is wild. So I really enjoyed that. Like no fireworks, just a beautiful water show. And also like, why can't we have that in the Animal Kingdom? I think we could.
I mean, that, you know what? That's an awesome thing that I have never heard anybody say before. I'm sure people have said it, but I mean, I haven't heard that. And yeah, that we liked Rivers of Light. You know, we liked Rivers of Light.
Yeah, Rivers of Light was cool. I don't understand really why it went away. I saw it the one time and I was like, this is cool. And then it like died shortly after. But yeah, you can have like a water show in Animal Kingdom, in my opinion, and like not ruin the animals' lives, I think.
I didn't even think of that, of connecting that area. Because it just seems like, I mean, the kite tails, whatever it was. But
I never got to see that.
But yeah, that would make sense right there. I mean, I didn't see it we obviously didn't do the dessert party. So one night we were in line for the Incredicoaster when it was happening. I think the other 2 nights we were in our room watching just the colors change from the window. I think I don't think I have Fedora ear footage of that. I think I actually have
Real video.
I had to like sync it up to like the music to know what part I was watching from the hotel. But yeah, it's such a DCA looks so nice at night. I feel like not that it's Main Street and the castle was like one thing to me, and I don't know why I thought it was better than Walt Disney World, but it really just popped to me in a different way that I was not expecting. But I almost thought, not that I undervalued, but DCA is very underrated in how it looks at night. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, totally. And I love how, I don't know if you could tell from where you were, but for World of Color, the wheel stops, so no one's on the wheel,
Right.
but they keep running Incredicoaster, which is cool. But then on the side of Incredicoaster that faces the lake, they have like hundreds of lights that like go with the show that I like during the day. I had no idea that was going to happen. It was really cool. So yeah, World of Color 1 I thought was awesome. Maybe proper World of Color was better. I have no comparison. So that was great. I liked their Fantasmic a lot. I have often heard that like Disneyland's Fantasmic is better. I disagree.
Yeah.
At least since our Fantasmic got the update, which I guess you've never seen, Frank, but the like
no
Mulan, Moana, Frozen update that they put into our new Fantasmic, I think like I cry every time. There's real seating for our Fantasmic. Like I just think it's better. Sorry.
We saw most of those princesses at Jelly Rolls. No spoilers for because I know you're a little behind.
Ooh, there you go.
Right
and then unfortunately it was Mickey's Mix Magic while we were there, so like very filler projection show and fireworks, and it was fine, but like whatever.
No, it's a fascinating thing that the kid, the 9-year-old, she's in charge in most cases, but the fact she wants to go on the Incredicoaster instead of watching like a colorful water show on the lagoon surprises me, but also okay, I don't need to
Yeah, I thought that the kids were gonna like it a lot because I'm like, it's a colorful water show of like a bunch of your favorite movies, like you should be in. No, didn't care. Cool. I'd also like to call out the one comment that says, as a fellow PhD, asking us to compare requires a valid instrument that has been peer reviewed, adjusted for criteria, and a proper null hypothesis. So true. Thank you. Like
Dr. Troy.
I can qualitatively compare, but I mean, I don't really know. Like,
so as we turn a corner a little bit here, because I know you have all of your PixieDustPhD uploads like planned months, years in advance, sometimes like all of this that you experienced on this trip. Like, when are we expecting that down the line? How far?
What a question. The channel's not planned that far in advance. I have a list of like things that I need to make, but it's like, when will those get made? When will it be uploaded? When will I correct the captions? Like, who knows? We did do Chef's Counter at Napa Rose, and so I have a video for that for sure. I'm not too sure when it's coming out, but that's like the only real solid video I know is coming from this trip, because when we were with my family, I just like wasn't taking content. And then when it was just the two of us, I intended to take some content, and I think I have like bits here and there, but we were just really moving at a lightning pace. We were really packing a lot in. There's just like not time for stopping, not time for commentary. It was like picks, move on into the next line, grab the next lightning lane, whatever it is. So I think I have enough to where, my partner and I will probably like sit down soon. We've been home for not even a week yet, so we'll probably sit down this weekend and like do a recap, and then I'll like layer footage in over it. But I don't have like proper vlogs from this trip. I do have a couple room tours, I think, but that's about it. Yeah, Napa Rose, Chef's Counter, a couple room tours in the coming months. I don't know. Subscribe and you'll find out.
Exactly. Hit the little bell. Yeah, I mean, we're patting ourselves on our backs of like, look at us planning. Like, you're the ultimate planner with your YouTube content. It's always consistent. You know when to expect it. You know when it's coming out. Love it.
That's the idea, but it is like a scramble these days. Sometimes I've been working like 10-hour days, and so between that and then like life, I'm like, well, those extra like 2 hours are when I would work on the channel.
Yeah.
I always say that I like your updates. What would the future hold for Pixie? Is there anything you haven't done yet with the channel that you would like to do, that you would like to grow it a certain way? What is there things that you wish for the channel? I want to know.
I think there's things that I wish for me that I might put into the channel. So, we might have some exciting Disney World stuff coming up in a while. It's going to be a while, like Epic Universe also in a while. But I don't know. I think I look at what I try to make content that I would want to watch. And so the type of topics I want to see often are like, okay, well, they're like longer term, which is hard for me to do as a non-local. So like of the 4 Epcot festivals, like what can you expect and which one might be best suited for you? I can't really make that video because, I don't go during every Epcot festival in a given year or whatever. But like, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future.
Considering, I mean, without the miles involved and the travel involved, notwithstanding, is it harder for you to go without being in Walt Disney World or harder for you to go without being in Disneyland? Again, I'm tapping into the nostalgia.
Considering, as if I could just teleport to one place.
Like, is there one like, oh, I wish I could get here more often? Is it Disney World or Disneyland?
Oh, I mean World. I really like Disneyland. That's not a slight to Disneyland, but Disney World has 2 times as many theme parks. Like, there's just more. There's so much more. And it's less dense. And I mean, you can make an argument about number of attractions or whatever, but especially in terms of food and drink and resorts and vibes, it's just easier to spend more time in Disney World. So if I lived dead center in the country, it was equidistant for me to either, notwithstanding my family's on the West Coast and they'd go to Disneyland and they're not going to Disney World. It's to me, Disneyland's oh, great long weekend trip. And Disney World's take a week off, really be there.
Yeah.
Last question here. You have a trip planned in December, but when you're at our meetup in November, what are you planning to look forward to when you meet up with us in November before that big trip?
I think just working for my job, billing some hours, making some progress, maintaining my PTO bank.
Your room at which
I don't know why I would fly down and pay for a room if I'm going to work for 10 hours.
Because you're in Disney and maybe it just makes you feel a little bit better about your day. And then you get to see us as well. Bonus!
I mean, you guys coming to DC?
I know, I do need to get to DC.
Does the Disney breeze hit the same in both parks? I feel like that's a frank question.
True.
It does not.
Oh.
I mean, it's not a slight to Disneyland. It's just there's something.
It's less humid there. You don't need it as much.
That's right. It's exactly. It is not the break you're looking for at the end of your theme park day.
But a Disney breeze isn't about cooling you off. It's just magical, guys.
It's. I know it's so funny. All right, fine. And here's my last question about.
Here's my last question to try to get you to admit that you have nostalgia for something.
It's not that I have no nostalgia. I think I just don't hang on to it the way you guys do.
What?
What? That's crazy.
Is there 5 of your vlogs that you can send us about DVC? Your
There's
highest recommendation.
No, we're not doing this to her yet. No, listen.
We do it every time.
You are already I'm never doing it. I'm the day I decide to do it, I have a panel. I have a panel of people that will be on my screen that I'll go, okay, but what about this? But I don't understand. Can you say that again? But I don't That's all I'll be doing.
You pay a lot of money up front to buy the membership. The membership comes with an amount of points. You get those points every year. You exchange those points for hotels. That's it.
Carry the 2.
But then it's the advance. You got to know in advance when you're going. It's the 11 months. It's.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways where I don't know if it's really a great choice for how you guys travel.
First of all, Lewis is here in the resort to say no one holds on to nostalgia the way we do.
It's so true.
What?
Don't believe
There's
that.
others.
There's a couple of people. There's
Lewis
Mama
also
and Papa
says
Dillo. There's
that Lewis thinks Val
Yes.
and him and Dr. J need to
Yeah.
seek an intervention.
I'm a big preacher that like DVC really is not for everybody. And I think if that's the conclusion you come to for yourself, that's great. Like that's information gained and you can stop thinking about it. I think you guys need to get to a point where you know it's a yes or no.
Dr. J, why don't you pressure us into it? Come on.
because I think
Because it's like a lot of money. It's
I think and I think you know that it's probably not for us. And you're like, guys, it's not for you. You don't plan.
yeah,
things out.
especially I mean it just continues to get more popular. They continue to build more resorts, which is generally speaking, I think the trend seems to be that it's making booking harder. So I don't know. I didn't own, but maybe 10 years ago, booking like 3-4 months out in advance was maybe fine. And now like there are a few rooms you could maybe do that, but you would have to be flexible with your days. Like it's not, I don't, you guys would really have to change the way that you
we would
plan.
have to what?
Yeah,
What were you
exactly. Not
doing?
change and plan in one sentence. So it's one of those things where like, yeah, sure. And maybe we could walk through like Old Key West and Saratoga Springs, which like normally have pretty good availability. And if you decide like that's good enough for you, then like buy a cheap resale contract and like try to make that work. But like, in my opinion, unless you wanted to change and plan, there's no point in you buying like a Disneyland hotel contract or a Polynesian contract to stay at those places because you will not be able to book those places 3 or 4 months out.
I also do like this that Lewis said, if you buy enough points, you save $500 a year on your AP. That's Disney math right there.
That's only if you buy direct through Disney, which is so like 150 points direct through Disney is going to run you 30, 35 grand, maybe 150 points on the resale market, depending on the location, could be 18 grand. Like you could save a lot of money. So the perks for buying directly through Disney are, in my opinion, like pretty few and far between at the moment.
But you said that. Oh, see.
Oh yeah, 2001 would have been a great time to buy in.
Yeah, when it really would have been great was like in the 90s when Mama.
Yeah, like when it
Dillo
opened. Why
was
didn't
on it.
Mama and Papa Dillo do this, huh?
I don't know. We walked through we walked through the little staging areas. We even stayed at some. They never did it. They loved staying at Boardwalk Villas and Beach Club Villas when they opened, but they never did it.
Interesting.
Here we go back to the Green Beach Club Villas. This is our nostalgic Dr. J conversations right here. But I think Papa Dillo does not subscribe to the timeshare concept.
That's so fair, honestly. Like it is still a timeshare. It is still kind of a scam.
And
like
I
the
feel
least scammy timeshare.
I feel like he wouldn't want to be like tied to some, like he wants to go where he wants to go, and that's it.
I mean, you still can. It depends a little bit. There's like asterisks, but largely, like if you bought in resale at the Polynesian, you could stay at most of the places.
Right.
If you buy in direct through Disney, you can stay at all the places.
You're like, Jen, just looking to see what the Polynesian Tower is.
See what it is.
It's expensive. But yeah, no, I have like a DVC 101, like 15-minute video primer that I think I've sent Jen like 3 times. Like every time you're on the podcast being like, I need someone to explain this to me. I'm like, have you watched this video? Yeah.
I literally brought up PixieDustPhD on YouTube recently. Me and Mr. Sidillo were like, I'm like, what about this video? What about that? I don't know. We just have to talk to her when we're actually like realistically thinking about any of this, which is not right now. So
yeah, like Lewis said, you guys and Lewis and Dr. Val, we can all stage an intervention for you to get you to make a real decision.
But then it just goes along with my pretend planning that I do of Disney World, Disneyland, DVC. I do a lot of pretend planning of things, Yeah,
so. But you could pretend plan and like gain knowledge to like make those plans more real.
It's the retention of the knowledge that we're failing at.
The retention, yes.
It gives us anxiety, and the anxiety means we block it out.
There shouldn't be anxiety about like.
Well, I mean,
all right. I don't know. Yeah, it's I mean, you guys would use the heck out of it, like if you could. It's just the question of like, would you be able to book given your circumstances?
I want to make sure before I ask you to plug the YouTube channel we've been talking about the last 20 minutes that is there one thing, one element, something we missed about your Disneyland trip that you want to touch on?
That you're
Napa Rose
nostalgic
Chef's
for.
Counter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's
go
do it.
ahead.
It was amazing. So I've never been to the Napa Rose, like, period. This was our first time going at all, and we booked Chef's Counter. There's only 12 seats. Actually, the restaurant's closed right now. I think it closed like 2 days ago. It's going to reopen in the fall, I think, with an expanded Chef's Counter. So we'll see what that means. Looking at the space, I was like, I don't know where they would put more seats, but maybe they'll expand the kitchen and then they'll expand more seats. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it was like probably like a 3-hour experience. We did the chef's tasting and the wine pairing. They will tailor stuff to what you want. We kind of just said, like, do it. Like, we want what you're gonna give us.
Yeah.
And everything, like, the ingredients were just like so beautifully sourced. Like, I had a Hokkaido scallop, which I haven't had seafood from Japan in a really long time. It was so good. And it's just like, yeah, it's an immaculate experience. We were sat in front of the appetizer station, so you get to watch people make the cold apps and the hot apps, and someone's like in front of you most of the time. A couple sous chefs like doing their jobs, but they're also there to introduce your meal to you and answer any questions. The head chef, I forget his like real title, but he's like culinary director at Disneyland. He's head chef at Napa Rose and Carthay and Club 33 and maybe 21 Royal.
Oh my God.
Was there and chatted him up, and it's just really cool to like see everybody in their element and learn, and also be exposed to like a level of cuisine that is not in my normal life.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I should point out that Dr. J was the one who saved our family several $100s by pointing out the cost of the princess breakfast over there at the Grand Californian. And I would have had no idea.
Yeah, it's a big bill.
He
didn't do it. I hard vetoed it. I wanted to take the kids to like a character meal, and so I sent my brother like Goofy's Kitchen and Storytellers, and then I didn't send them the one inside the theme park because I was like, we should not waste like park time.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's only a breakfast, and what, you know, that's like the best park time, honestly. So yeah, I mean, we put Goofy's Kitchen because we were staying at Disneyland Hotel, and to me, Goofy's Kitchen is like their what's the Mickey one in the contemporary, Chef Mickey's?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like in my head, it's like the classic one. I've heard that Storytellers is better, but
Storytellers was good. They're about to change it over from Mickey centric to Donald centric, but I like a good classic. You know, I would say like Ohana or Cape May Cafe feels like a classic Disney character breakfast to me. But
more than Chef Mickey's.
I don't. Have you been to Chef's Mickey?
I have
done Chef Mickey's. You have?
I have, yeah, but I don't think we did it like growing up at all. Like we only were in the poly.
That's like the one. Like when my friends go that have kids or whatever, that's always like the one that they're like, we have to do Chef Mickey's. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and I feel like we took the 10-year-old when he was probably a year and a half or 2. Like that's when we went, and I haven't been back since then. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think the 8-year-old has been there. So
so Goofy's Kitchen was really cute, and the kids had done the two older ones had done Bibbidi Boppity Boutique that day, so they were all like super glam dressed up for their dinner, and the characters had a lot of fun with them and interacting with them in their prince and princess outfits. That was cute.
That's cute.
But culinary does not compare. Like, we did Napa Rose on our arrival day because I knew it was going to be like 3 hours. I didn't want to waste 3 hours of a park day. Blah blah blah. So we were like, okay, well, this is the day that makes sense. But then also like everything was downhill. There. It's not a fair comparison. But it was definitely like
Victoria and Albert something on your bucket list then? If
I don't know, like no.
You can answer no, Dr. J.
I think no. I feel like my partner might be slightly more interested than me. For me, I'm like, so, and this is my heavy West Coast bias coming out, like being from out west, you can get extremely fresh seafood, not only from that coast, but from Japan. And not that like tasting menus are all seafood, but it's usually like that drives a bulk of the price. That's kind of like some of the specialty. Like one of the courses my partner got at Napa Rose was pumpkin swordfish. So like 1 out of every 3,000 swordfish comes out extra orange because it ate a ton more shrimp. And like head chef Andrew was like, that's my swordfish. We're going to serve it at Chef's Counter. So those kinds of like more special things to me. I'm like pretty snobby about seafood. I've tried to eat it on this coast. I largely find it to be like not good enough for the prices
Mhm.
that they're charging. So when
Mhm.
I think about tasting menus or like Chef's Counters experience or stuff out east, I'm like, there's probably stuff in New York that's worth it. There's maybe a few places in, you know, like Philadelphia, DC, etc. But it's like, okay, again, I live in DC, so I could get a really good experience here. Why would I probably pay more for what is likely lesser quality in Florida and also taking away
Mhm.
from my time in
Mhm.
Disney World?
I mean, I did a before we go, and I wasn't expecting to be like, oh, we're going, but the food quality overall, you just think is better in California, though, right? Across the board, not just seafood.
The parks,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Disneyland to Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like as a whole, yes, especially when you look at quick service. I think what's tricky for me is like Satuli Canteen is, you know,
Mhm.
S tier.
Mhm.
I don't know that any of the quick service at Disneyland hits S tier, but there's way more in the A tier.
Right.
Especially when you consider like Disneyland is basically their Magic Kingdom. There's no comparison of food
Mhm.
quality, right? So yeah, I think that largely, I don't think there was anything I ate where I was like, that's not good. Like I wouldn't order that again, right?
Right.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, again, I felt like probably a little bit of an in the moment bias, but I just felt like there was something more flavorful and fresh about the food across the board
Some of
in
the food was
California.
actually spiced and like not
Yeah.
stuff that was labeled like super spicy, watch out. You know, it was just
Mhm.
like, you know, spiced wings or whatever. I'm like, oh, there's like actually flavor in this. Like
Right.
amazing. That I think that is just, you know, being in Southern California and catering more to locals with like perhaps a bit more sophisticated palates.
Mhm.
I think the palates coming to Disney World, generally speaking, are probably a little bit more delicate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I think I was just consistently, I don't want to say surprised, but it was just nice. Every meal, like I had no complaints, as Papa Dillo would say, no complaints.
I got nothing bad to say.
All right. Well, I thought while I was turning the corner for Dr. J to start doing our plugs, and then I did a diversion.
That's
into-
exactly
What we do.
So I will now turn it over to Dr. J, Dr. Jacqueline, PixieDustPhD herself, to plug the channel and all the things.
All right. As you've heard, my YouTube channel is PixieDustPhD. I upload every Wednesday, sometimes also on Saturdays or Sundays if I have extra stuff I want to push out. I also have a Ko-fi if you want to support me over there. If you join as a monthly member for $5 a month, you'll get some extra blog posts, extra videos, just kind of like more access to me. I'm a little bit more responsive to people who want help planning their DVC stuff if you're a Ko-fi member than if you're just like adding me in my Instagram DMs, which by the way, I log on to Instagram like every 5 weeks. So I do have an Instagram, not terribly reliable there. I am still active on Twitter because I have been on that for like half my life and I refuse to leave. I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
But yeah, mostly you can find me on YouTube. And I post, I would say mostly DVC stuff. I like specialize in Disney Vacation Club, but as I go on Disney trips, I do post vlogs and like just kind of preserve my memories there. So come hang out.
Well, as always, a pleasure to see what I can get you riled up about.
I mean, the A's was such an easy target, man. Like, got to get more creative next time.
All right.
Yeah,
But the Mets are winning the World Series. I know we were going to get to them, but
We'll see. I don't know about that.
just saving Jen's going to bookmark this so that when it happens,
that's true. I'll get the 10-year-old's opinion too. Maybe I'll throw that in after the
he's going to
credit.
be like, no, Uncle Frankie's
know.
wrong.
Yes, and then because he likes to Dillo the expectations.
All right, Dr. J, thanks so much for joining us. I'm sure we'll do it again real soon, or maybe like we'll record a little something at the meetup when you're there with us in November.
It's not happening.
Can't wait to see you.
Oh my God. Can't wait for you to come to DC. There's so many Smithsonians for your children. There's a Disney exhibit in the like American history one for sure.
Until next time, that's Dr. J. She's Jen. I'm Frank. Bye-bye.
Deuces. I'm here with the 10-year-old, and I'm actually here the night before this episode is dropping, which we've just finished a pretty good sweep, I would say. So this is Wednesday, April 23rd. 10-year-old, I would like you to tell me what you're thinking about the Mets today and where you see the rest of the season going.
It's good, but the final, because the pitching might be an until like June, mid-June.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to end 96 and 66.
Okay. And what were you just telling me about the Mets standing right now?
The Mets are in first in all of MLB.
Being an Eagles fan and a Mets fan, do you know that these two teams in years past, this isn't this isn't normal playing for either of these teams. Are you very proud of your teams?
Yes, I think they're winning so many games is because of Soto.
You think Soto?
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think Soto is doing to help the team this season?
Well, he got out an extra run for the Phillies today.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I like Soto.
I like Soto.
Mr. Snidillo and I, you know who Mr. Snidillo is, right?
Oh, Frank.
No. No, that's Papadillo. Who's Mr. Snidillo?
Joe.
Yeah. Said in the Papadillo voice. We were discussing last night how we thought that the Mets just seem like nice guys. And Juan Soto is one of those. He's always saying hi to people. He's chatting it up.
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Except Winky.
No, Winky. No, he's a good guy.
Wait, no,
Here's
Winky's
Winky.
like
Winky is a good guy.
But
He's a tougher player, but you need one of those guys on the team. But I bet he would do anything for anybody. That's what I think.
Yeah, he basically went against Alonso in a wrestling match today after he went home.
Speaking of your boy Pete, how are we feeling about Pete this season? What do you think?
My boy Pete is basically going to have over 40 home runs this season and over 120 RBIs.
Wow. What's he at now?
6 home runs, 26 RBIs.
Any final thoughts? On April 23rd, obviously we'll follow up with you again throughout the season, but any final thoughts for today?
Orioles-Reds game on Sunday. Go just say the final score of the game. Just say the final score.
I have. Oh, this past Sunday? 24-2, right? And who was probably really excited about that? Who's
Theme Park Rob.
That's
Theme
right.
Park Rob.
That's right. All right. Thank you for your contribution, and we'll check in with you soon.
Okay.
Deuces.
I'll show you one and see.
The Dillo's Diz podcast is hosted by Frank Cardillo and Jen Cardillo-Snyder. Music produced by Matt Harvey. Logos and video production courtesy of Snidillo Studios. Dillo's Diz Resort is our Patreon with tiers starting as low as $1 per month. You can visit dillosdizresort.com to learn more. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, X Twitter, and Facebook at Dillo's Diz. Check us out on YouTube by visiting youtube.com/DillosDiz. Don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there. We also have merch available on TeePublic and Etsy. For all this and more, visit our one-stop shop, dillosdiz.com. Dillo's Diz Podcast 2025.